took a short break for himself, gazing at the quietly nestled town and the neatly planned farmland in the distance. He sighed softly. The road ahead is long. The origin of the hypercube is somewhat astonishing. The northern crown of the martial immortals and the Great Wall is a term that most people might find quite unfamiliar. In fact, in the universe, it is not even called this name, as 1,000 civilizations have 1,000 different names for it. This is the term used in the Great Sea of Earth, the cosmic Great Wall. This name primarily describes a supergiant celestial structure, stretching for billions of light years, interlacing and forming a magnificent cosmic wall. It is one of the largest celestial descriptions aside from the universe itself. Just like Earth's position in the universe, it can be simplified by removing some detailed descriptions and just mentioning the larger concepts: the solar system, the galaxy, the local group, the Virgo cluster, the Laniakea supercluster, the Pisces Cetus supercluster complex. The second to last level is that of the cosmic Great Wall, and the northern crown of the martial immortals is the location of Earth. Its maximum span is 100 billion light years. Such a vast structure naturally gave birth to many civilizations. Among them, the most powerful group is indeed formidable. As the largest celestial structure next to the universe, civilizations that rank among the top in it also have a place in the universe. Within the northern crown of the martial immortals, there exists a high-level civilization united council. Well, the name is not important. Translated, it might not even be called a council. An alliance would work, and a United Nations label is also acceptable. In short, it is a place where powerful civilizations establish rules. The entry threshold is very high. If nothing else, just look at the speed. As long as one masters wormhole technology at 10 million times the speed of light, they are qualified to join. This is not the main point. The focus is on the hypercube. This item is what those civilizations created to recycle materials. In the past, there were many restrictions. Such completely destructive resource extraction was a reckless act. Just like on Earth, the resources of the high seas are theoretically shared by all nations. If you take a bit of water or catch a fish, it's not a big deal. But if you suddenly dig up an island and go home to fill the sea and build roads, or if you deplete the fish in a certain area to the point of extinction, that is unacceptable. The river system is the smallest unit of restriction. So why was it banned before and now opened up? It's simple. There are problems in the universe that have long spread to the northern crown of the martial immortals and are rapidly expanding. Like being doused with countless untreated nuclear wastewater in the ocean. If we don't quickly catch the fish, we won't be able to eat them. Entropy decay? This term is quite fitting. Moreover, the hydrogen transformation methods of the hypercube were also learned from this crisis, and the council members have long begun to relocate. The hypercube and similar mass-collecting ships are lagging behind. In order to maintain order and avoid unnecessary internal conflict, the council has promised that recovered mass will be allocated to members. Those who do not meet the standards, unfortunately, will have to fend for themselves. However, this still provides a glimmer of hope for various native civilizations in different star systems. They can research ways to break through the hypercube. If they show significant potential, they should strive to harness it. Otherwise, they must adhere to the rules. Those who are too weak will simply fade into dust. Everyone is too preoccupied with their own survival to extend any extra goodwill. Chapter 551. Is this my doll set? It is precisely because a chance has been given that many civilizations that previously did not meet the first-level standards have begun to become active. Some are just one step away from the threshold. Relying on the hypercube, they have crossed the threshold. Those slightly behind can only work furiously. The weaker ones don't even have the right to know what's going on. Additionally, there are many who attempt to take shortcuts, lacking strong technological capabilities. They resort to underhanded methods. For example, there is a control center in the Andromeda galaxy that can parasitize the hypercube. It is akin to the parasitic civilizations encountered earlier that can latch onto carbon-based life forms. The two share a similar innate ability. However, they are not on the same level. The parent body encountering them would not even be worthy of carrying their shoes, akin to ants. It is this ability that can influence the hypercube. Yet, it is limited to influence. After all, the forces that manufacture hypercubes are too powerful, making it very difficult to gain complete control. The only way is to manufacture a new one, starting from its early development, to potentially gain higher-level permissions. To achieve this, the civilization has devised a parasitic strategy to play this game across multiple star systems, primarily due to their lack of technological capability. If they had production capacity, they wouldn't need to traverse so many star systems. How to put it? Well, it's like an underground force wanting a batch of fighter jets. So they infiltrate an automated arms factory. Unmanned and unguarded, they break in, alter information, and order the production of more fighter jets. However, materials are limited. At most, they can only produce a few extra units of equipment. Thus, to obtain a sufficient quantity, they must hit many arms factories. When they leave, They can only take the finished products without acquiring the manufacturing technology. This method is akin to that of a thief. However, it is their ability, and it's not prohibited. The hypercube is like a treasure, blatantly displayed. Those capable can take it away. Those incapable can play on the side. It's very realistic and straightforward. The top civilizations of the entire martial arts realm in the Northern Crown constellation have already shown great benevolence. It's like someone who has come ashore tossing a piece of foam to you in the water. If you can grab it and swim to shore, that's your skill. As for diving in to rescue you with all their might, you're thinking too much. Resources are limited. If too many people come ashore, everyone on the shore must proportionately lose their benefits. Not stepping on you back into the water is already a form of kindness. After understanding all this information, Chu Xian felt helpless. Is this my doll set? Stellar aging. Hydrogen transformation in star systems. Cosmic entropy decay. This is the mode of the cosmic escape, which simply cannot be stopped. The rate of hydrogen transformation has been skyrocketing since it initially reached twice the speed of light. The entropy decay is similar and even faster. Starting from the center of the universe, it spreads outward at a currently constant speed of 1,000,000 times the speed of light, sweeping everything in its path. Without personal experience, Chu Xian also doesn't know the specific situation. In 173 years, it will reach the galaxy. Wow, is it that close? Never mind. The 1,000,000 times the speed of light spacecraft has already broken through. In 173 years, relying on the hypercube, it can at least reach 5,000,000 times. Or even 10,000,000 times, and has the qualification for distribution. It can still escape. As for why the crisis prompted the hypercube to start gathering resources so close, it's because this area is already a fringe zone. The hypercube isn't something trivial. There are many galaxies like this one in the northern crown of the Great Wall. It can only adopt a self-deriving model, just like the Fairy River system. One hypercube arrives at the center of the system. Then it develops 17 others, and once collected, these 17 hypercubes will go to 17 systems to repeat the operation. However, based on the current situation, it seems that these 17 hypercubes might finish gathering and only get to one more place before needing to return. Otherwise, they won't have time to escape. The hypercube in the galaxy is probably in the same situation. This is likely its last mission. Chapter 552, Super Bean. In fact, the collection ability of the hypercube isn't as slow as it appears now. Hydrogen transformation is both a means of collection and a signal. It gives opportunities. Once on land, if standards aren't met within a certain time, hydrogen transformation will accelerate, just like the Mirror Sphere civilization, which has extremely slow technological growth after acquiring the hypercube. They are reluctant to work, only thinking about whether they can gain benefits from the hypercube. Essentially, just lying around and not meeting standards. Hence, hydrogen transformation accelerates. Its growth is much faster than that of the Fairy River system, all due to inaction. What a bunch of slackers, Chu Xian complained. At that moment, a splash was heard as Han Duo, who had just finished work, jumped into the hot spring and gently hugged him from behind. Who slacked you off? Chu Xian casually replied. A bunch of lazybones. That is quite fitting. The Mirror Sphere civilization is just that shape. How long is this break? One day? Then let us go shopping later. Han Duo's eye sparkled. Sure. An hour later, the two arrived in a civilized nation with human-like appearances, just newly joined by the Fairy River system. Exotic atmosphere. Chu Xian also took the time to relax. Next, they would have to get busy again. The Star Civilization Alliance, this massive machine, will continue to operate at full capacity, breaking through the hypercube at millions of times the speed of light. Entropy decay, the Great Wall, the universe, the Council, a bunch of things to do. After today, they must continue their journey. Half a day later, after exploring the most prosperous commercial area of this civilized capital district, where to next? Let us go back home and take a look. Good. In an instant, a space gate opened before them. Stepping through, they found themselves inside the ruins of the underground city number 3. There were still commercial activities here. Retro. Han Duo has already adapted to her brother Xian's extraordinary and elusive nature as one of the top decision makers. This might be due to her special privileges. I want 30 skewers of roasted worms, with cumin flavor. Alright, a large cup of juice. This time it's really a large cup, 500 milliliters, not in liquid form. Chu Xian ordered a cold dish of high-fat rapeseed, which, after continuous improvement, tastes better than what he initially made. It's refreshing and delicious, with a natural oil fragrance. Looking at the scene around them, where people live and work in peace, all efforts are worth it. The civilization of Earth will surely endure. To achieve this goal, hard work is essential. 3 years later, many of his companions arrived, but they were all outsmarted by Chu Xian. The complete hypercube had overwhelming combat power. Direct confrontation was too broad in scope. Utilizing advantages effectively was key. If it could be resolved without fists, then they shouldn't be used. The main issue was still the lack of foundation. If only he had 1,000 hypercubes in hand. There would be no need for strategy. Just a strong push forward would be exhilarating. Ultimately, trying to rush the process revealed many shortcomings that needed time to address. The greatest role of dimensional space is to assist, to act as a stable rear support. In the face of battlefields involving wormhole weaponry across distances of 10 light-years or more, its effectiveness is limited. If they didn't engage up close, it would be of no use. Absolute control within a radius of 100 million kilometers was akin to having a large shield. Even if they fed the moves, the stars needed to take one step at a time to reach the peak. This year, on March 3, 2114, after consuming the reclaimed wormhole and food sourced from elsewhere, the dimensional space welcomed another upgrade. 100 million 3, 100 million 2, 200 million 1, 200 million 3, finally stopping at a radius of 300 million kilometers. Thereafter, Chu Xian did not act on the hypercube and continued to enjoy small jelly beans or cotton candy. The reason was simple. If he took away the hypercube, who would gather the mass? He would still have to run around, which was inefficient and slow. With someone else preparing meals, why would he sabotage his own kitchen? He could just look for something in the kitchen to fill the time while waiting for a feast. Also that year, the 200 million times the speed of light wormhole spaceship proof was completed and entered the formal construction and testing phase. The hypercube's decryption was 20% complete. On March 12, 2115, in the Triangular Galaxy, Chu Xian finally witnessed the final means of recovering the hypercube. A step the Andromeda Galaxy and the Milky Way had not yet reached. It was shocking. After the iron element was reversed, it underwent another energy state modulation. Finally, relying on special dimensional rule technology, akin to attracting magnets, the entire sequence of hydrogen transformation became clear. Ascending order, fusion. Double sequence, increased fission. Single sequence, elements below iron fuse first, remaining above iron undergo fission. Iron reversal, random antiparticles. Modulation, magnetic attraction, metaphor. 6 steps, advancing rationally. Otherwise, collecting them one by one would be too troublesome. Converting everything into a single type with special properties was equivalent to purification, followed by recovery. What a clever method. Chu Xian couldn't help but admire it. Then, he waited in ambush. The speed of recovery for this special energy reaches 10,000 times the speed of light, and it must be secured the moment it is completely collected. In the end, Chu Xian joyfully picked up a super bean. Chapter 553. The granary is full in the instant of controlling the situation. Hiss. Hold. The mass of an entire galaxy is simply too much for a dimensional space to swallow all at once, just like before. Split. Recover. This time, it's not 2 million times a portion, but 10 million times the mass of the Sun. The triangular seat galaxy is smaller than the Milky Way, yet it still contains 50 billion stars. Therefore, with 10 million times a portion, it needs to be divided into 5,000, but the dimensional space isn't sufficient. And even if it were, it couldn't hold it all. So Chu Xian can only hold on to it and nibble at it, without being able to dismantle the hypercube. Once destroyed, and if he leaves, the mass is too great. Without suppression, boom. This super bean would turn into a super bomb, and the scene would be unimaginable for Chu Xian. Currently, research is underway on how to replace the artificial intelligence while keeping this function running continuously without errors. Even a millisecond of error could lead to a fireworks display. The last upgrade expanded the space, and the daily absorption rate achieved another significant leap, increasing from 200,000 times to 1 million times the mass of the Sun. It's getting faster. It's getting faster. Several years have already passed. The grain storage has reached the point of needing an upgrade. 100,000 a day. 10 days, 1 million. 100 days, 100 million. Start. Buzz. The boundaries of the dimensional space continue to expand. 400 million. 500 million. 600 million. 700 million. It finally stopped growing at a radius of 1 billion kilometers, with more subspaces available to carry greater mass. Not bad. Not bad. One subspace can already withstand a black hole of 100 million times the mass of the Sun. After adapting to the new capability, it's time to dismantle. The super bean with 50 billion times the mass of the Sun, previously nibbled down by 100 million, still has not even touched its tip. Now there are 600 subspaces. 400 of them can serve as granaries, while the others have various uses. Thus, this super bean still has 10 billion times the mass outside. The granary is full. Eat from the outside. In fact, Chu Xian feels a bit anxious. Retaining the super bean carries some risks. Even that civilization, which secretly altered the permissions of the artificial intelligence, has never succeeded in this matter, always failing each time. The consequences are unclear. Chu Xian has hesitated, but ultimately decided to take the plunge. What about the Milky Way? What about the Andromeda Galaxy? It should be known that the distribution of rights does not happen on the spot, but only begins after catching up with the fleeing forces of the Great Wall. He cannot simply watch the Milky Way being packed away. As for obtaining permissions honestly, then chasing after in the hypercube to let others assess his qualifications. Frankly, not satisfying. This is not about pride, but can they be trusted? After reaching the shore, Chu Xian does not wish to comment further on his thoughts. It is only known that if there is an opportunity, the right path is to become stronger as much as possible. Dignity is never achieved through charity. This time, the spatial upgrade has resulted in an increased capacity. From 1 million times the mass of the sun, it has grown to 5 million times. And consuming this super being will take 10,000 days, 27 years. Of course, upgrades will definitely occur during this period, so if things go quickly, it might take around 10 years. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, 3 years have passed, without any significant outcomes. The dimension space that devoured 50 billion times the mass of the sun has evolved once again. The daily consumption is now 30 million times. In the penultimate chapter, Chapter 554, Stars, New Journey. At this moment, the super being of the triangular seed galaxy has been completely consumed, having eaten 50 billion. Another 50 billion has been utilized to feed black holes and manufacture spaceships. The initial limit of 1,000 ships became unmanageable as it was originally set without knowing the purpose of the hypercube. Now, it is understood that this represents more sources of mass acquisition. Consequently, this limit has been increased 100-fold by Chu Xian, with the main focus shifting from resource collection to rescue. There is no way around it. It's tough. In the eyes of the top beings in the Northern Crown's Great Wall, only civilizations capable of mastering 1,000,000 times the speed of light are worth their attention. But for Chu Xian, there is no room for selectivity. Having anyone is better than none. Strong, weak, good, bad. Everything is gathered together first. Betting on the probability of their potential, even if slim, there is still hope. It's like a scavenger going to an abandoned factory, not letting even a damaged brick go, thinking it might be useful one day. Right now, Chu Xian has this kind of mindset, a hamster mentality. Due to the explosive increase in the number of ships, the recruitment of civilizations from the Milky Way, barley, wheat, fairy, and other dwarf galaxies in this star system has seen explosive growth, exceeding 1,000 in a single day. The star central is extremely busy, and so is Chu Xian, working nonstop. In one subordinate civilization's settlement area, once the news is broadcasted, it's truly overwhelming. Crazy. Isn't there any fear of collapsing? Such behavior leaves some life forms within the stars, who still do not fully acknowledge the situation, dumbfounded. Not to mention cross-civilization issues. Even within the same civilization, there are countless disagreements. Is there really no fear of mixing flavors in this pot? Collapse? Look at the stars now. Is there any sign of collapse? Stop dreaming wildly. Get to work. Otherwise, whether the stars collapse or not is uncertain, but if there is no food, you and I will definitely break down. With a sense of helplessness. Let us continue. Work. It's unclear how the stars determine this, but they somehow know about any double-mindedness and filter them out, throwing them here. They can't enjoy the citizenship of the stars, but life continues unabated. However, despite the complaints and dissatisfaction, once on this great ship, there has been no thought of getting off. The outside is too dangerous. Living is quite wonderful. So many civilizations have been gathered, yet the stars remain undisturbed. Most only seek a stable life. Now, it has been achieved. What remains is to unite as one, to strive together for self-realization, and to protect the hard-won peace. At this moment, the year is 2121. During the Spring Festival, at Han Xiang's home in Baiyun Town, after a lively reunion dinner, fireworks explode in the sky to celebrate. May the stars shine as brilliantly in the future, Liu Peiqiang said slowly. Having once again been promoted to a 5-star general and serving as the Deputy Chief of Staff of the Star Civilization Alliance Military Affairs. Administrative Level 3. Yes, Chu Xian replied firmly, unsure of how he arrived in this world, but knowing there was no turning back. Time is a relentless force that leaves no room for complaint. In 2200, with a crunch, Chu Xian bit into a super candy bean formed by the fusion of the galaxy, marking the complete disappearance of this star system. Just as Earth lost its solar system long ago. Next, he would roam the seas, seeking the unknown. Chu Xian gazed at the empty surroundings, then looked towards a faint light in the distance. Due to the slow speed of light, he could still see the glow from the galaxy, which originated hundreds of thousands of years ago. The dark backdrop contrasted with the white glow, resembling a memorial photo, evoking an indescribable melancholy. With a soft sigh, Chu Xian reflected, the stars. A new journey. My old home is gone. Now I can only embark on a journey with my new home. Forward. To seek a glimmer of hope. To forge a civilization that lasts forever. The end. Continuing would just be a repetitive cycle, so let's stop here. Thank you all for reading this far. The new map may hold new stories, and perhaps there will be side tales in the future. If you don't mind reserving some space on your bookshelf for this book, it would be appreciated. Thank you. Grateful for the support along the way.